I rise to move a motion that the votes and proceedings of 29th March, Tuesday, 29 March 2022 be approved. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Distinguished Senator Uche Lillian Ekunife Iyom.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for being gender-friendly this morning, as always, though. Mr. President, my colleagues, my name is Senator Uche Lillian Ekunife Iyom. I come from Anambra State. I represent Anambra Central. Mr. President, I rise to second the motion that votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 29th March 2020 be approved. I so second.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 29th March 2022 be approved, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. The votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 29th March 2022 is hereby approved. Petitions. Petitions, the Senator Uche Ekunife.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a petition from one of my constituents, Donamweze of Jokalis Aluminium Products Limited. Mr. President, this petition is against Nigeria Customs Service and the Federal Ministry of Finance over the non-refund of excess financial charges amounting to 26,040,026 naira. Nigeria Customs Service and Federal Ministry of Finance have acknowledged these discrepancies with a promise to refund the said amount of money since 2014, but up to today, nothing has been refunded. Mr. President is asking this Senate to please address this matter and ensure that justice is done in this case. Mr. President, this petition has no legal implication. With your kind permission and the permission of my colleagues, can I lay the petition? Thank you.
Is the petitioner seeking any judicial remedy? You may lay the petition, please. The petition is referred to the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions to report back within 4 weeks. Any more petitions? Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the first business of the day is the presentation of a House bill standing in my name on the Federal University of Technology Ipokia Bill 2022. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal University of Technology Ipokia Bill 2022, HB 512, first reading.
Federal University of Technology Ipokia Bill 2022, HB 512, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the second business of the day is also the presentation of a House bill standing in my name on the Pharmaceutical Technologists and Pharmacy Technicians of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2022. Mr. President, we wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Pharmaceutical Technologies and Pharmacy Technicians of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2022, HB 459, first reading.
Pharmaceutical Technologists and Pharmacy Technicians of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2022, HB 459, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the third business of the day is the presentation of a House bill standing in my name on the Chartered Institute of Risk Management of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2022. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Chartered Institute of Risk Management of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2022, HB 139, first reading.
Chartered Institute of Risk Management of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2022, HB 139, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fourth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Francis Ali Makena on the Institute for Excellence and Leadership Development Establishment Bill 2022. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Institute for Excellence and Leadership Development Establishment Bill 2022, SB 965, first reading.
Institute for Excellence and Leadership Development Establishment Bill 2022, SB 965, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fifth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Tolulope Akinremi Odebi on the Industrial Waste Minimization Bill 2022. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Industrial Waste Minimization Bill 2022, SB 974, first reading.
Industrial Waste Minimization Bill 2022, SB 974, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day is a motion requesting the Senate to consider the request of Mr. President Commander-in-Chief for the confirmation of the nomination of Dr. Haile Gabriel Longpet for appointment as the Resident Electoral Commissioner in the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in accordance with Section 154 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal of Nigeria as amended. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the purpose of this motion on the order paper is for the request of Mr. President Commander-in-Chief to be referred to the relevant committee for further legislative action. I therefore move that the request of the President Commander-in-Chief be referred to the appropriate committee for further legislative action.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do consider the request of Mr. President C&C on the confirmation of the nomination of Dr. Haile Gabriel Longpet for appointment as Resident Electoral Commissioner for Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in accordance with the provision of Section 154 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The request of Mr. President C&C for the confirmation of the mentioned nominee is hereby referred to the Committee on Petroleum Resources Upstream, Downstream. Is it? Sorry? Sorry. The request of Mr. President C&C is referred to the Committee on INEC for further legislative action and to report back within 2 weeks. Why is the Deputy Chairman INEC? Okay, 2 weeks because the Chairman is not here. 2 weeks, please. Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, The second order of the day is a motion requesting the Senate to consider the request of Mr. President Commander-in-Chief for the confirmation of the nomination of the following persons for appointment as Executive Commissioners for the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission in accordance with the provision of Section 11, subsection 3 of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021. They are as follows. Number 1, Dr. Nuhu Habib, Northwest Zone from Kano State, is a member, Executive Commissioner, Development and Production. Number 2, Dr. Kwelechi Onyekachi Ofiegu from the Southeast from Imo State is a member, Executive Commissioner, Economic Regulation and Strategic Planning. Number 3, Captain Tonlaha Roland John from South-South from Delta State is a member, Executive Commissioner, Health, Safety, Environment and Community. Number 4, Mr. Jide Adiola from North Central, that's from Kogi State, is a Commissioner, Corporate Services and Administration. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the purpose of this motion on the order paper is for the request of the President Commander-in-Chief to be referred to the relevant committee for further legislative action. I therefore move that the request of the President Commander-in-Chief be referred to the appropriate committee for further action. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As a second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do consider the request of Mr. President CNC on the confirmation of the persons named for appointment as Executive Commissioners for Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission in accordance with the provision of Section 11, subsection 3 of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. The request of Mr. President CNC is hereby referred to the Committee on Petroleum Resources Upstream and for further legislative action and to report back within 2 weeks. Chairman? Oh, no, Chairman is not here. Who is it? The deputy is also not here. Anyway, in 2 weeks, please. Oh, okay. Just take note. Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the third order of the day is the second reading of a bill standing in my name on the National Biosafety Management Agency Act 2015 Amendment Bill 2022. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, 23rd March 2022. Mr. President, with your permission, I like to move that the bill be read the second time.
You may proceed, Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this is to lead a debate on the general principle of the bill for an act to amend some provisions of the National Biosafety Management Agency Act 2015 and for other related matters. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, let me express my gratitude for this opportunity to lead this debate on the bill for an act to amend some provisions of the National Biosafety Management Agency Act of 2015. There have been many conflicting views and opinions about the introduction and commercial handling of genetically modified organisms, GMOs, in Nigeria, and indeed in many countries around the world. At the center of the public discourse are the issues of possible environmental and public health threats from unregulated and unauthorized handling of genetically modified organisms, particularly GM foods, food products, and crops, and other planting materials. The specific policy intent of the Principal Act, for which this bill seeks to amend, was to regulate, control, and limit any threat to public health or the environment. This is because so far there has not been any conclusive findings regarding the overall safety of GMOs to human life and the environment. So, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, caution must be our watchword in the handling of GMOs because even as we speak, about 64 countries around the world require GM food to be properly labeled, and not less than 26 countries, including France, Italy, Germany, Switzerland, Russia, Greece, China, India, Mexico, Australia, and Bulgaria, have partially or totally banned genetically modified organisms. Indeed, the 2022 World Population Review has argued that, and I quote, despite biotech industry promises, no evidence shows any GMOs currently on the market are showing increased yield, enhanced nutrition, drought resistance, or any other consumer benefit. I quote. It also made the important point that, quote, the safety of GMOs is generally unknown. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, in Nigeria, we are yet to have a scientifically balanced full picture of the situation, as provided for in the international precautionary principles with regard to GMO commercial farming and the consumption of GMO products. Indeed, GM cotton, that is BT cotton, reportedly rejected in Burkina Faso, was believed to have been approved and allowed in Nigeria along with cowpea in 2021, while the GM maize, that's Taylor, was approved in October 2021. In Africa, at the moment, it is only Algeria and Madagascar that have banned GMOs. One leading entity that promotes GMO foods and farming, as well as their products around the world, is Monsanto, that is the American multinational agrochemical company, Agricultural Biotechnology Corporation. This company, for example, argues for the safety of GM maize for the new markets like Nigeria. But the International Agency for Research on Cancer, a subsidiary of World Health Organization, has found an evidence of genotoxicity and oxidative traces of glyphosate as a known source of cancer. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, in 2010, the American Academy of Environmental Medicine warned of health implications in the consumption of GMOs, which could lead to immune dysfunction, insulin disorders, and damage to the human reproductive system. This bill seeks to amend a total of 23 sections and subsections in the Principal Act, including those that concern with the processes and duration of risk assessment and management. Others are public consultation and participation in decision-making, interest group representation on the agency's governing board, as well as offenses, sanctions, and fines, among others. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it is commendable that this administration is gradually working to improve our food security, but the country has to be very careful that in working with our foreign partners to consolidate these gains, we do not endanger food safety, our environment, our biodiversity, and the health and dignity of our people. Distinguished colleagues, it is for this reason that I request you to support this bill for the second reading in the way to pass this amendment to an existing legislation. I have attached the areas, the amendments that are being sought, and this bill will be re-gazetted again because it was gazetted in the 8th Senate. We are going to re-gazette it again, but for the purpose of your consumption, I have attached an addendum showing you the sections of the Act, where amendments are being sought. I respectfully so submit, Mr. President. Thank you very much for your attention.
Distinguished Senator Ali Sabi Abdullahi, Deputy Chief Whip.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I'm Ali Sabi Abdullahi. I represent Niger North. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, let me congratulate and commend my leader, most distinguished Senator Yahya Abdullahi, my former lecturer in agriculture, and to say that this bill is very, very important and critical to the food security survival of our own country. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I was part of the development of our biosecurity or biosafety system when my department was actually having the secretariat. And at the beginning, I served as the secretary of the National Biosafety Committee that was put in place to look at the idea behind the issue or the emergence of genetically modified, foods, which was just emerging. Mr. President, one fact that we must acknowledge here is GMOs, as they are, have gone through a lot. From the experiment in the lab up to when people are now beginning to say, oh, we now have this variety that you can plant. But of course, one principle that guides the development of GMOs is what they call substantial equivalence, which means, is this commodity substantially being used without any health hazard? Given the number of years these experiments have been going on, the results, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, have always been mixed. But what countries do is to trade on the part of what lawyers say, is it abundance of caution? And the abundance of caution means that even if you want to do that, then you do it at a scale that is controlled, so that whatever happens, you are able to monitor. And I think the bill, which actually already is looking at an act that was put in place, is designed to help us to regulate the injection or introduction of anything genetically modified. And I will say that many experiments have been carried out, tested in the laboratory of many GMO products. And in many countries, the result, like I said, is mixed. But when you see areas of damage, like he has mentioned, the issue of disorders to organs is key. And if you look at it, what they seek to do is to increase the productive rate of what is being modified. And by the time you consume, you are not sure how it is going to function in your body. So I think we must prevent a situation where we allow Nigeria to be a dumping ground so that our citizens will not be used as guinea pigs. The idea of GMO or genetically modified organism is not a bad thing, but I think our country must have a strong regulatory measure, and I think that is what this bill by our Senate leader seeks to achieve, so that whatever it is that we are going to approve, we know has gone through the very rigor of due diligence, integrity test, to ensure that at the end of the day, what goes out, we do exactly what we say it is going to do, so that we don't end up compounding the problems of our people. So, Mr. President, this bill is timely, this bill is very critical, and I think the scientific underpinning of why we need this bill is very clear and not disputable. So, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I call on my colleagues to please allow this bill be read the second time, so that we can definitely work on it as quickly as possible, and the benefit is for our citizens. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished Professor Robert Ajayi Borofes, Deputy Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me join my colleague, the Deputy Deputy Whip, for his contribution. I also want to thank the Leader of Senate for bringing up this amendment. Distinguished colleagues, the world population is growing towards 7 billion, and there's no way the world can avoid developing a technology that will be enough to feed the growing population. This has been the objective of GMO. The GMO has so many advantages. Increase in acreage, yield in acreage, resistance to diseases and drought, and so many other advantages that have been genetically modified, because GMO is genetically modified organisms. Distinguished colleagues, the GMO have been a subject of global controversy and politicking. And where we are today, I am sure there is no concrete evidence that GMO has negative effect. There's none. But to be on the safe side, just like in journalism, when you are in doubt, you leave out. And I think this is what this amendment is all about. That there are areas that could become loopholes, and those areas we should block them in order to protect the Nigerian population. I think this is in order, and I therefore appeal to my colleagues to support this amendment for second reading. Thank you.
Distinguished Senator Brian Lagobi.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, distinguished colleagues. GMOs are actually very important because that can also increase the food production in the country. But you see, not only that, it is important to come up with these regulatory issues, particularly the amendments that is going to be done. Why? Because in Nigeria here, we are very used to cutting corners. And when you cut corners to some of these very sophisticated GMOs, you create problem for ourselves. And therefore, the most important thing is the kind of amendments that I have seen so that the GMOs will be properly and adequately regulated in this country, so that anything that is coming into the country will have a paper and the documents that will show this is the percentage of whatever we are looking for, so that by the time it comes in, we will not have any problem. And if any one of them, any input is having problem from there, regulators will understand and then push it out of the country so that it doesn't have to come and then create problem for us. So I commend the mover of the bill, that is the sponsor, who is the leader, Dr. Abdullahi, and I want everybody to support this because of its importance.
Those in favor that this will be now read the second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the National Biosafety Management Agency Act 2015 and for other related matters 2022, second reading.
A bill for an act to amend the National Biosafety Management Agency Act 2015 and for other related matters 2022, second reading taken, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Environment for further legislative action to report back within 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fourth order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund on the Federal Polytechnic Orozo Establishment Bill 2022. Mr. President, this bill that we are to consider, present and consider, has not been brought before us. I will therefore, with your permission, rise to move a motion that we suspend consideration of this bill, send it down to another legislative day. I so move, Mr. President.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, though this is my bill, but unfortunately the chairman is not around, I therefore rise to second the motion that this bill be stood down to another legislative day. I so second.
Thank you very much. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that we stand down to consideration of this report till another legislative day, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, The fifth order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Joint Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, and Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes on the Witness Protection and Management Establishment Bill 2022. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Tuesday, 25th January 2022. Mr. President, we will invite distinguished Senator Michael Opeyemi Bamidele, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Distinguished Senator Michael Opeyemi Bamidele.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I'm Michael Opeyemi Bamidele. I represent Ekiti Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, I rise to move that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Joint Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters and Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes on the Witness Protection and Management Bill 2022. Mr. President, I so move.
I need a seconder. Distinguished Senator Suleiman Abdukwari.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Suleiman Abdukwari, representing Kaduna North. I rise to second the motion as ably moved by very distinguished Senator Michael Opeyemi. I so second. Thank you.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Joint Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, and Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes on the Witness Protection and Management Bill 2022, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Chairman, you may lead the report, please. Chairman, may present the report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Report of the Senate Joint Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters and Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes on a bill for an act to establish the legal and constitutional framework to protect witnesses and related persons with responsibilities for carrying out all administrative duties relating to witnesses in respect of disclosures made for public interest and for related matters, SB 641. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the Witness Protection and Management Framework Establishment Bill 2022 was sponsored by Senator Suleiman Abdukwari, representing Kaduna North Senatorial District. The bill was read for the first time on Tuesday, 23rd February 2021. On Tuesday, 25th January 2022, the Senate, at its plenary sitting, deliberated on the general principles of the bill. After extensive deliberations, the bill was read for the second time and referred to the Senate Joint Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters and Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes for further legislative action via order of referral dated 26 January 2022 and to report back with its recommendations. The objective of the bill, Mr. President, distinguished colleague, is that it seeks to provide for legal and institutional framework for the protection of witnesses and related persons in respect of disclosures made for public interest. The bill also seeks to provide support, management, and protection of witnesses, which will be implemented by all public institutions vested with powers to investigate and or prosecute criminal cases. This program is a universally accepted concept for the protection of witnesses who are willing to provide information and evidence for the purpose of enhancing the justice system and whose lives are threatened as a result thereof. Therefore, the need to have this legislation in place cannot be overemphasized, as it will give the needed impetus and credence to the current anti-corruption drive of this administration. Mr. President and dear colleagues, jumping to page 5 to talk about the legislative summary. Paragraph 6, legislative summary. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it is instructive to note that the Joint Committee has critically and painstakingly carried out extensive clause-by-clause analysis of the provisions of the bill to ensure that the provisions conform to normative legislative drafting style on the subject matter when compared to similar legislations in other jurisdictions. The phraseology of some provisions was redrafted and all editorial corrections effectively carried out for the purpose of clarity and ease of understanding. Our observations and findings. Following the submissions and presentations made by stakeholders and the general public on this proposed legislation, and having analyzed same in our subsequent make-up sessions on the bill, the Joint Committee hereby makes the following observations and findings. 1, that the stakeholders and members of the public that submitted memoranda, as well as those that made oral presentations at the public hearing, supported the passage of the bill in view of its strategic importance to all national efforts geared towards the fight against corruption in Nigeria. 2, the Witness Protection Program is a universally accepted concept that is aimed at unraveling highly organized criminal activities, with the help of persons who are willing to volunteer information, evidence, and other forms of assistance to law enforcement agencies in prosecution of crimes. 3, that the bill, if enacted, will address a major lacuna in our justice system, as there are no extant laws in place which are comprehensive and specific enough to address what this bill seeks to achieve. 4, that the program is essential in upholding and maintaining the principles of rule of law in accordance with the policy thrusts of this administration. 5, that the protection program is all-encompassing, as it also includes physical protection, such as relocation, as well as enabling the witnesses to testify in a manner that ensures their safety, especially where the cooperation of the witness is critical to the prosecution of cases in line with Article 24 of the Organized Crime Convention 2004. 6, that the program will ensure balance between the safety of the witness and defendant, as well as sustain and guarantee their constitutional rights to fair hearing in trials. 7, that the program will permit the witness to testify in a judicial setting or cooperate with law enforcement in investigation without fear or threat of intimidation of reprisal. 8, that the passage of this bill will provide an enabling environment and give effect to government policies that seek to enhance the administration of criminal justice and promote the fight against corruption. And finally, that the enactment of this bill will assist in unraveling organized criminal activities, which have posed major challenge to our corporate existence, growth, and development as a country. Our recommendation: the Senate Joint Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters and Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes, to which this bill was referred, having favorably considered same, recommends as follows: that the Senate do consider and pass the Witness Protection and Management Bill 2022 as amended. I so move, Mr. President. Thank you, sir.
Any comments? Otherwise, leader will go to the committee of the whole.
Mr. President, I move that this Senate resolves into the committee of the whole to consider this report. I so move.
Minority leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that this Senate do resolve into committee of the whole to consider this report. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate resolves into committee of the whole to consider the report, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, this is a very sensitive bill, so I'll be a little bit slow to enable us be critical. Those in favor of clause 1 and 2 and clause 2 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 3 starts from page 5. Meaning of witness under this bill. Those in favor of clause 3, clause 4 on page 7, establishment of the witness protection and management program. I think, is it supposed to be program or program? Program. Clerk. Program. Mine is not looking like program. On page 7, clause 4, part 2, establishment of witness protection and management is not program. P is missing. Okay, correct that, please. So those in favor of clauses 2, 3 and 4. Clauses 3 and 4 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 5 is on page 9. Application for inclusion in the program. Those who were at clause 5, clause 6, temporary protection, clause 7, assessing witness for inclusion in the program, and clause 8 on page 12, inclusion in the program. Those who were at those clauses stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. What is going on? Clerk. Page 4 is repeated, right? Because mine, after page 12, It's for page 4. Ah. Okay. Okay, yeah, mine is, they started again from page 4. So I go with yours. Clause 9 is on page 13. Protection agreement. Those who wrote at clause 9 on page 13, clause 9, clause 10, stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 11 is on page 18, 1-8. Those who are at clause 11, clause 12, on page 21, clause 13, and clause 14. Stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 15, rules of confidentiality and disclosure of information on page 22. Those who are at clause 15, clause 16, clause 17 on page 26, clause 18, clause 19 and clause 20. Stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 21 is on page 27, effect of court order protecting witness identity. Those who are at clause 21, clause 22, cancellation of entry in register. Clause 23, special provision in case of marriage of witness. Clause 24 on page 29. And clause 25 on page 30. Stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 26, offenses in relation to documents on page 30. Those who are at clause 26, clause 27, clause 28, clause 29, and clause 30, stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 31 is on page 33. Disclosure by witnesses and others. Those who are at clause 31, clause 32, clause 33, clause 34, clause 35, clause 36 on page 36, clause 37, clause 38, and clause 39, stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 40 is on page 37, Witness Protection Fund. Those who are at clause 40, clause 41, clause 42, clause 43, clause 44, clause 45, and clause 46, investment of money on page 39. Stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 47, false or misleading disclosure on page 39. Those who are at clause 49, 47, clause 48, clause 49, prohibition of false representation, clause 50, clause 51, clause 52, clause 53, clause 54, Clause 55 on page 44, stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 56 is on page 44. Those in favor of clause 56, restriction on execution against property of the relevant agency. Clause 57, clause 58, clause 59, clause 60, and clause 61, stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who order the interpretation on page 46, stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who order the short title on page 49, stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who order the schedule on page 50, stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who order the explanatory memorandum on page 51, stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who order the long title on page 1, stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the Senate resumes plenary in order for the chair to report progress. I so move.
Minority.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the Senate do now revert to plenary to report progress. I so second.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do resume plenary for the chair to report progress, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Joint Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, and Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes on the Witness Protection and Management Bill 2022 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended, clause 1 to 61 as recommended, interpretation as recommended, short title as recommended, schedule as recommended, explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, I rise to move that this bill be read the third time. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that this bill be now read the third time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to provide a framework for the support, management, and protection of witnesses and for other related matters 2022, third reading.
A bill for an act to provide a framework for the support, management, and protection of witnesses and for other related matters 2022, third reading taken, and this bill is passed. Well, congratulations to the Senate. This again is one piece of legislation that will enhance this administration's fight against corruption, and this is the third or the fourth contribution of this Senate in the last 1 month on the fight against corruption pieces of legislation that will support what we have already done before. So congratulations to the Senate and indeed the National Assembly. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, The sixth order of the day is a motion standing in the name of distinguished Senator Patrick Abba Moro on the Nigerians dumbfounded and outraged over pay TV tariff hikes, demand for pay-per-view subscription model. Mr. President, we wish to invite distinguished Senator Patrick Abba Moro to move that motion.
Distinguished Comrade Patrick Abba Moro, Benue South.
Thank you, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues. It is a privilege for me to raise this motion on this very important issue of public interest this afternoon. Mr. President, my name is Senator Abba Moro. I represent the very good people of the Benue South Senatorial District. Mr. President, the Senate notes with great concern the uproar within the public over tariff hikes, price increases by pay TV television providers on their bouquets. The Senate further notes that the leading pay TV service provider in Nigeria, MultiChoice Nigeria, informed all DSTV compact subscribers on August 22, 2020 to expect a 13.3% price increase to 7,900, up from 6,975, starting from September 1, 2020. While the subscription fee for DSTV Compact Plus was increased by 9.8% from 10,925 to 12,000. And DSTV Premium was increased from 16,200 to 18,400, indicating a 13.6% price increase. Note also that MultiChoice Nigeria willfully and perpetually increases the cost of fixed bundles because there is no regulation whatsoever in the area of price fixing. Notes further that, as usual, without recourse to the economic situation of the country, MultiChoice has again raised the cost of its DSTV and GoTV bundles, stating them as follows. DSTV Premium, 21,000. DSTV Compact Plus, 14,250. Compact, 9,000. Confirm, 5,300. Younger, 2,950. Paddy, 2,150. Business, 2,669. Extra VPVR, access fee, 2,900. Those of GoTV are as follows. GoTV Max, 4,150. GoTV Jolly, 2,669. GoTV Ginger, 1,900. And GoTV Lite, 900. Aware that thousands of paid TV subscribers in Nigeria have bitterly reacted to this development on different social media platforms, ranging from deep shock to pure outrage, with many asking the Nigerian government to checkmate the activities of paid TV service providers in Nigeria, especially in the area of price fixing. Aware also that paid TV services are subscription-based television services usually provided by both analog and digital cable and satellite televisions. Recall that in Nigeria, entertainment was only about tuning in and watching any terrestrial channel one could reach. Recall also that the launch of a paid TV service provider in 1996 began a gradual change of the narrative. Recall further that in 2000, other paid TV options found their way into the country, breaking the monopoly of the only existing one in the late 1990s. Note again that among the bitter complaints of Nigerian subscribers of paid TV services is the poor network service experienced as a result of bad weather or epileptic electricity supply, which sometimes make a whole month subscription to go waste without the subscriber watching anything before its expiration. Knows once more that Nigerians are demanding that rather than paying fixed rates for packages monthly, pay TV service providers should introduce a subscription model which allows subscribers to pay per view to enable them watch their TV consumption to subscription, as it is the case with electricity metering and mobile telephony. Notes finally that the pay-per-view Nigerians are asking for does not have the same meaning as that which applies to a one-off broadcast of high-stakes games, such as football, boxing, wrestling matches. Rather, the pay-per-view that Nigerian subscribers are demanding for is a flexible model plan of subscription, which allows subscribers of pay TV to pay per view per match to avoid paying for services which they may not consume. Senate accordingly resolves: 1. Urge the Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy and the Nigerian Communications Commission to direct all pay TV providers to introduce a pay-per-view model of subscription as against the month-to-month prepaid model presently in place. And 2, direct all pay TV service providers in Nigeria to immediately review their bouquet prices downwards in tandem with the prevailing reality of the economic situation in Nigeria. Mr. President, I so move.
Distinguished Senator Yusuf Abubakar Yusuf.
Thank you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleague. I stand to support this motion and also make my own little contribution. For many years back, I've always talked about this DSTV thing. I could remember in the Earth Assembly, a committee was even, made to see how they can make DSTV to do this view as you go, and not just to be paying on monthly dues, so that whether you watch it or not, your money goes. I think it's high time we stand up firmly and face this institution or this company to make sure that we protect the interests of Nigerians. Secondly, sir, it is luxury, not just information, but the way we use it in this country, much more than information, we use it, as luxury. And as a luxury item, it is even a source of tax or a source of surcharge we should place on this, company. So I support that, their fees or whatever, should be scaled downward, and at the same time, there should be a surcharge, on the company, to make sure that Nigerians also benefit in another way. So there should also be a luxury charge on this DSTV to make sure that, we earn more income, especially that, our budget, has been consistently deficit. We should have another source of income. I so second this motion, and I urge my colleagues to look at it favorably to see how we can protect Nigerians from these, DSTV activities in Nigeria. They charge their fees as they want. Nobody controls them. I don't know what the federal, consumer protection is doing. So many cases were sent to Federal Consumer Protection Agency and nothing much is being done. But I think this time, Your Excellency, my distinguished colleague, we should be very, very, very serious, and we should even have an ad hoc committee, not just the committee on communications, to look into this thing, securely and very, very fast to solve the problem of Nigerians in due respect. I so move. Thank you very much.
Senator Bolajuri.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Barrel Jibrin. I represent Kano North. Mr. President, permit me to commend the mover of this motion and to say that I support the content therein in its entirety, because the motion is pro-Nigerians, it is pro-people. Mr. President, is the highest assembly in this country. We have at all times, as shown in this bill, stand for the interests of the people of this country. The people of this country are being shortchanged by the TV service providers in this country. There is no regulation at all. These people increase the fees payable on this service at reckless abandon. They do that whenever they like, without considering the service, the quality of service they are providing to Nigerians. The service is poor, their services are poor, they are not given, they don't give what Nigerians are supposed to have in terms of the service of these entities. Mr. President, another painful aspect of it is this. Because of the nature of electricity we have in this country, which is epileptic, sometimes someone will pay for the service of these TV stations, but lack of light will not allow, lack of electricity will not allow such person to enjoy the service of these television. But yet, once the month reaches, gets to the end, that money goes. So as said in this bill, in this motion, there should be a system where there will be pay-per-view, because the people of this country are being shortchanged. But when you introduce this kind of arrangement, people or the subscribers will be able to enjoy the service that they pay for. Again, the regulators should do the needful. Must make sure that they shouldn't allow increase of fees by these entities the way they like. Is not in line with the interests of our people. I therefore support this motion, and I urge my colleagues to do the same, because we need to stand for the people of this country. We need to protect them and make sure that certain entities do not shortchange them the way they like. I still submit.
We go to the prayers. Urge the Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy and the Nigerian Communications Commission to direct all pay TV providers to introduce a pay-per-view model of subscription as against the month-to-month prepaid model presently in place. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, direct all pay TV service providers in Nigeria to immediately review their bouquet prices downwards in tandem with the prevailing reality of the economic situation in the country. Those in favor of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Please, additional prayer. Okay, Senator Yusuf.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, the additional prayer I want to say, this matter is beyond just asking these people to do. My additional prayer is the Senate to establish an ad hoc committee to further investigate this incessant increase in fare or fees by DSTV in this country, with a view to finding lasting solution to it.
Okay, I need a seconder. Senator Suleiman Al-Bukhari.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, before I put the question, I'm thinking this is supposed to be a wholesale investigation into everything about these payments. Where all these things that we have listed, Ministry of Communications, NCC, and so on to do, I think we should investigate them. They should also come to our committee, as well as the operators, those who are pushing this kind of thing, because let's, at the end of the day, be able to say this is the kind of pay system that Nigeria should be should pay, and that we can get through other stakeholders who would also come for a public hearing. So we need, really, these people are cheating. Sorry, I'm not supposed to use the word cheating, but they can't do this in many countries. What they do here in this country, they can't do it. They dare not do it in many countries, but here they do it, and they get away with it. So we need to do a good, we need to have a public hearing, really. Get everybody, and also understand in other climes, how are they charging people? How is DSTV charging South Africans? Is it the same? Why should they charge us in this way? So our ad hoc committee should be given the mandate to do a wholesale investigation. Wholesale investigation. So those in favor that we set up an ad hoc committee, like as proposed by Senator Yusuf, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
My highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the seventh order of the day, the 7th to the 10th order of the day are House bills for concurrence as listed on the order paper. Distinguished senators will recall that these bills were read the first time in this chamber on Tuesday, 25th February 2020, Tuesday, 15th February 2022, and Wednesday, 15 December 2021, respectively. Mr. President, for the simple nature of these bills and inter-chamber reciprocity, I would like, with your permission, to use a single debate on all these bills.
You may proceed, Leader.
Give me. Mr. President, permit me to lead the debate on the bills for concurrence from our sister chamber, the House of Representatives. These bills are: 1, Raw Material Research and Development Council Act 2022, House Bill 47. Number 2, Fisheries Institute of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2022, House Bill 896. Number 3, Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill 2022, which is House Bill 1820. Number 4, Federal College of Education Technical Yahoo Kebbi State Establishment Bill 2022, House Bill 629. I will start with the Raw Material Research and Development Council Act 2022, which was read the first time on Tuesday, 25th February 2020. This bill seeks to repeal the Raw Material Research and Development Council Act, Cap R3, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and to enact the Raw Material Research and Development Council Act 2021 to develop local raw materials and coordinate research efforts, especially in relating to raw materials acquisition, exploitation, conservation, and development. The Fisheries Research Institute of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2022 was read the first time on Tuesday, 15 February 2022. This bill seeks to establish the Fisheries Research Institute of Nigeria, which is charged with the responsibility for registration and discipline of members of the profession. The Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill 2022 was read the first time on Wednesday, 15th December 2021. This bill seeks to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act, Cap A12, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, as amended, to make provision for the establishment of Federal College of Agriculture, Kirikasama. And finally, the Federal College of Education, Technical Yaouri Kebbi State Establishment Bill 2022 was read the first time on Wednesday, 15 December 2021. This bill seeks to establish Federal College of Education, Technical Yaouri Kebbi State to provide full-time courses, teaching, instruction, and training in technology, applied science, arts, social science, humanities, and management. Mr. President, my respected colleagues, these are straightforward bills and not controversial, and they have gone through the necessary legislative process in our sister House representatives. I therefore urge you to support second reading of these bills as we refer them to the Committee of the Whole for close-by-close consideration. I so submit, Mr. President.
Anyone? I need someone to at least second what the leader. Very distinguished Senator Matthew Urogire.
Mr. President, a very distinguished colleague, Senator Matthew Urogire, arrived to second the motion regarding the concurrent bills as raised by the leader. I so second, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, those who vote that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. There is aye. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the bill for an act to repeal the Raw Materials Research and Development Council Act, Cap R3, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and to enact the Raw Materials Research and Development Council and for other related matters 2022, second reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, the bill for an act to establish the Fisheries Institute of Nigeria, charged with the responsibility for registration and discipline of members of the profession and for related matters 2022, second reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act, Cap A12, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 as amended, to make provision for the establishment of Federal College of Agriculture, Kirikasama, and for related matters 2022, second reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education, Technical, Yaouri, Kebbi State, to provide full-time courses, teaching, instructions, and training in technology, applied science, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management, and to carry out research in the development and adaptation of techniques and for related matters, 2022, second reading.
A bill for an act to repeal the Raw Materials Research and Development Council Act, Cap R3, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and to enact the Raw Materials Research and Development Council and for other related matters 2022, second reading, taken, and the bill is referred to the Committee of the Whole. A bill for an act to establish the Fisheries Institute of Nigeria, charged with the responsibility for registration and discipline of members of the profession and for related matters 2022, second reading taken, and the bill is also referred to the Committee of the Whole. A bill for an act to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act, Cap A12, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, as amended, to make provision for the establishment of Federal College of Agriculture, Kirikasama, and for related matters 2022, second reading taken, and the bill is also referred to the Committee of the Whole. A bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education, Technical, Yaouri, Kebbi State, to provide full-time courses, teaching, instructions and training in technology, applied science, arts, social sciences, humanities and management, and to carry out research in the development and adaptation of techniques and for related matters 2022 second reading taking, and the bill is also referred to the Committee of the Whole. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that this Senate resolves in the Committee of the Whole for the close-by-close consideration of the report. I so submit.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate resolves into Committee of the Whole to consider the reports, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Is Raw Materials Research and Development Council Act. Our colleagues in the House of Representatives have worked on them and largely establishment of institutions, not very sensitive, not even controversial. So those who are clause 1, clause 2, clause 3, clause 4, and clause 5 functions of the board on page 3 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are clause 6, tenure of office of board members, clause 7, clause 8, clause 9, clause 10, and 11, and 12 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are clause 13, annual estimates and accounts, clause 14, clause 15, clause 16, clause 17, clause 18, clause 19, and clause 20 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at clause 21 on page 8, indemnity of officers of the council, clause 21, clause 22, and clause 23 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor of the interpretation on page 9 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at the short title on page 9 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at the schedule on page 9 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at the explanatory memorandum on page 11 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at the long title on page 1 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Report number 2, Fisheries Institute of Nigeria Establishment Bill. Those who are at clause 1, clause 2, clause 3, clause 4, and clause 5 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at clause 6, clause 7, clause 8, clause 9 charter registration on page 7, clause 10, clause 11, and clause 12 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at clause 13, investment on page 11, clause 14, clause 15, clause 16, clause 17, clause 18, clause 19, and clause 20 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at clause 21 on page 15, provisions of library and research facilities Clause 22 and Clause 23 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who want an interpretation on page 16 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who want the short title stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who want the schedules 1 and 2 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are the explanatory memorandum on page 21 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are the long title on page 1 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Report number 3. Only 4 clauses. Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill. Those who are at clause 1 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at clause 2 and 3 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at clause 4 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at the short title stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at the explanatory memorandum stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at the long title on page 1 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. We have the last report. Federal College of Education Technical, Yauri, Kebbi State. Those who are at clause 1, clause 2, clause 3, clause 4, clause 5, clause 6 on page 3, clause 7, clause 8, clause 9, clause 10 on page 5 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at clause 11, clause 12, clause 13, clause 14, clause 15, clause 16, clause 17, clause 18, clause 19, and clause 20 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at clause 21 on page 8, clause 22, clause 23 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at the interpretation stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at the short title on page 10 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at the explanatory memorandum stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at the long title on page 1 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that this Senate resumes plenary for the chair to report progress. I so move.
Minority.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those who want the Senate reverse to plenary for the chair to report progress, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate and the Committee of the Whole considered the Raw Materials Research and Development Council Act 2022 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended, clause 1 to 23 as recommended, interpretation as recommended, short title as recommended, schedule as recommended, explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. The Senate and the Committee of the Whole also considered the Fisheries Institute of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2022 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended, clause 1 to 23 as recommended, interpretation as recommended, short title as recommended, schedules 1 and 2 as recommended, explanatory memorandum as recommended, Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? The Senate also in the Committee of the Whole considered the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill 2022 and approved as follows: long title as recommended, clause 1 to 3 as recommended, short title as recommended, explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? The Senate also in the Committee of the Whole considered the Federal College of Education Technically Yauli, Kebbi State Establishment Bill 2022 and approved as follows: long title as recommended, clause 1 to 23 as recommended, interpretation as recommended, short title as recommended, schedule as recommended, explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you very much. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, I rise to move that this bill be read the third time. So moved.
Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that these bills be now read the third time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Flag of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to repeal the Raw Materials Research and Development Council Act, CAP R3, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and to enact the Raw Materials Research and Development Council and for other related matters 2022, third reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Fisheries Institute of Nigeria charged with the responsibility for registration and discipline of members of the profession and for related matters 2022, third reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act, CAP 812, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, as amended, to make provision for the establishment of Federal College of Agriculture, Kirikasama, and for related matters 2022, third reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education, Technical, Yauri, Kebbi State, to provide full-time courses, teaching, instructions, and training in technology, applied science, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management, and to carry out research in the development and adaptation of techniques, and for related matters 2022, third reading.
A bill for an act to repeal the Raw Materials Research and Development Council Act, CAP R3, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and to enact the Raw Materials Research and Development Council and for other related matters 2022, third reading taken, and the bill is hereby passed. A bill for an act to establish the Fisheries Institute of Nigeria charged with the responsibility for registration and discipline of members of the profession and for related matters 2022, third reading taken, and this bill is also passed. A bill for an act to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act, CAP A12, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 as amended, to make provision for the establishment of Federal College of Agriculture, Kirikasama, and for related matters 2022, third reading taken, and this bill is also passed. A bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education, Technical Yauli, Kebbi State, to provide full-time courses, teaching, instructions, and training in technology, applied science, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management, and to carry out research in the development and adaptation of techniques, and for related matters 2022, third reading taken, and this bill is also passed. Congratulations. Leader of the Senate, Leader, come first. Distinguished colleagues, Leader of the Senate, we have finished everything.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, having concluded today's proceedings on the order paper, I hereby move that this Senate adjourns until Tuesday, 5th April 2022 at 10 a.m. prompt. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Thank you very much. Distinguished colleagues, before I put on the question, there is an announcement on the ad hoc committee to carry out a comprehensive investigation on the pay TV Nigerians pay through our nurses, and it's supposed to be a very comprehensive investigation. You can go through public hearing and the rest of it so that you are able to get more information regarding how other places, other jurisdictions or countries are charged. The chairman is the deputy chief whip, the chairman of the committee. There's Distinguished Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi. Members, Senator Suleiman Abdukwari, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, Senator Yusuf, Senator Leko Mustafa, Senator Chukuka Utazi, and Senator Ekon Yakin. And they have 1 month, because we need comprehensive. At the end of the day, we should have all these unnecessary payments that we make to DSTV and others reversed, if they can't justify it. So the committee is expected to start work almost immediately. That does not stop any of us, senators who may have something to give to the committee in support of what they are doing, what they will do rather. Thank you very much. With this, those in favor, Leader, what did you say? Tuesday, which date? Okay. Those in favor of the motion that this Senate do adjourn till Tuesday, the 5th of April, 2022, at 10 a.m. from say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. And let me wish our Muslim brothers and sisters in the Senate, in the National Assembly, in Nigeria and across the world, a happy Ramadan. By the grace of God, Ramadan will be, it's likely to be a weekend. I'm not sure until the Sultan, who is authorized to make the announcement, does so, but we expect that by Tuesday will be in Ramadan by the grace of God. So happy Ramadan, and I wish all of us Nigerians well. May this very important religious period give us the opportunity to get closer to the Almighty God, seek His blessings, His mercies, so that some of these issues that bedevil our country, the Almighty God intervene for us to have ease. And we should use that period, this 1 month ahead of us, especially those of us who are Muslims, to pray and pray and pray for the people of Nigeria, for the security of everyone, security of lives and property, and of course, for God's blessings in this country that has strong promise. With this, the Senate once again is hereby adjourned till 5th of April, Tuesday next week, 2022 at 10 a.m. prompt. Thank you.